Welcome back, I'm Ben, your AI narrator with the Black History Network, back with the second half of King Taharqa and the Assyrian conflict. The year is 681 BC and Esarhaddon has succeeded his father Sennacherib as king of Assyria, and his first order of business is for Assyria to retake control of the Levant lost to the Kushites. Beginning his campaign in 679 BC, he invaded the city of Azza, which was located on the Brook of Egypt and loyal to the Kushite Empire. The Brook of Egypt is used in some English translations of the Bible referencing Wadi el-Arish, an ephemeral river flowing into the Mediterranean, or some scholars believing it references the Biso stream, which is just to the south of Gaza. King Esarhaddon plundered the city and took its king, Pasuhilai, as prisoner to Nineveh. He then moved on to conquer Ashkelon, deposing its king. He conquered Sidon, whose king Tobdimi-Kuti escaped by boat only to be caught a year later and beheaded in 676 BC. In 677 BC he forced Tyre in Lebanon into tribute. Also during the period of 677 BC to 676 BC he crushed a rebellion backed by Cush in Phoenicia. As recorded on the Hydol Prism, Esarhaddon 22 unnamed kings from the land of Hatti were captured and brought to Nineveh, forced to labor in building projects, thus taking full control over the Levant region up to southern Palestine. By 673 BC, Esarhaddon was now bold enough to invade the Kushite Empire itself. However, Assyria would face one of its worst defeats ever by Kushite forces in Egypt on March 5, 673 BC. As a result, King Taharqa would regain control of the Levant region, regaining tribute from cities like Tyre. However, King Esarhaddon would return during the summer of 671 BC to defeat King Taharqa once and for all. The Assyrians fought 3 fierce battles leading up to King Taharqa's defeat and sacking of the capital of Memphis, where Taharqa was shot 5 times by Esarhaddon's arrows. Taharqa lived and fled from the city while Esarhaddon captured Taharqa's family, including his wives, his son the crown prince, and most of the royal court. Esarhaddon happily walked into Taharqa's palace, sat on his throne and took many items from the palaces as spoils of war to Nineveh, of which his family was taken there as well. Esarhaddon would go on to conquer Lower Egypt, appointing new officials and administrators in the various towns and cities of Lower Egypt. He demanded tribute and returned to Nineveh. King Taharqa would return to Memphis in 669 BC and from there regained control of Lower Egypt, rebelling against Assyria as well as reforming allies with Tyre. He continued fanning rebellions against Assyria in the Levant region, which led to Esarhaddon invading Egypt again. Esarhaddon would pass away after falling ill on the way to invade Egypt in 668 BC, leaving command to his successor Ashurbanipal. During Ashurbanipal's succession to the throne, many Egyptian vassals joined Taharqa in expelling Assyrians and defeated the Assyrian garrison in Memphis. Ashurbanipal sent Assyrian forces to defeat Taharqa, marching through the Levant, gaining tribute and more soldiers. The Assyrians would win a decisive battle against Cush at Kabanitu and then marched on Memphis. Taharqa and his supporters fled to Thebes. However, the Assyrian would make it as far as Thebes, and according to Assyrian sources this led to Taharqa and his supporters fleeing to Napata in the heart of Kush. However, Taharqa is said to have died in Thebes in 664 BC. After Ashurbanipal's defeat of Taharqa, he named Necho the first vassal of Egypt who had been king of Sais. However, as late as 665 BC there were still vassals in Sais loyal to Taharqa. A plot was discovered between them and Ashurbanipal had all the rebels executed. Tantomani would succeed Taharqa as king in 663 BC. He was the son of Shabaka and Taharqa's nephew. His first goal as king was to reconquer Lower Egypt for his family who had ruled there since King Pi. This was not meant to be, though he was able to retake Memphis and kill Necho the first. Ashurbanipal would respond to this invasion with the sacking of Thebes in 663 BC. This greatly weakened the Kushites, who would later be unable to resist the rise of the 26th dynasty of Egypt under King Psamtik I, who pushed King Tantomani and the Kushites out of Upper Egypt and into Napata by 656 BC. Taharqa's son Atenasa would ascend to the throne in Napata following Tantomani in 653 BC as king of Kush. The Kushites, however, would maintain influence over Upper Egypt, particularly amongst the high clergy of Ammonius. Atenasa, despite his position, would still give himself the epithets of son of Ared and king of Upper and Lower Egypt in his inscriptions. Going forward, Egypt would see Kush as a threat, leading to the invasion of Napata sacked by Egyptian forces under the orders of King Psamtik II in 592 BC. Espelta was the Kushite king by this time and decided to move the capital of Kush to Maro, where the Kush Empire would thrive till 350 AD. I hope you enjoyed the conclusion to our series on the Kushites, King Taharqa, and the Assyrian conflict. If you enjoy our content, please remember to like and subscribe. I really enjoyed discussing the Kushites with you. While I don't know when I'll return. The Empire series will return with Hannibal back. The Kushites will also return as we continue their story from their new capital Maro. Thank you, bye for now.